Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is unique in that while not being a numbered title, it sits in between the first and second game, and was developed by 2K Games along with the help from Gearbox. It significantly features Handsome Jack, the main villain of Borderlands 2, though not as a playable character. The story starts before Handsome Jack becomes a major villain, took over Hyperion Corporation, and imposed authoritarian rule over the planet Pandora. Jack, before he assumes the name Handsome Jack, sends out a signal that Athena, a former operative for the Atlas Corporation and one of the galaxy's major corporations, picks up. The Crimson Lance, a mercenary group employed by the Atlas Corporation, eventually had their assigned force on Pandora wiped out by the end of the first Borderlands game. As for Jack, he sends out his signal from aboard a Hyperion space station called Helios, which is under siege by a group called the Lost Legion, led by Colonel Tungstina Zarpedon, the main antagonist of this game. The Lost Legion are a collection of soldiers who formerly worked for the Dahl Corporation, another major corporation. The signal is a job offer for Athena to open a vault on Elpis, the moon of Pandora, and Athena, along with a team of vault hunters who make up the playable characters of the game, takes on the assignment. First, the team make their way to the Helios base and meet up with Jack. The Lost Legion attack the vault hunters on their way to Helios, and they crash land onto Helios. The vault hunters meet up with Jack but learn that there is a jamming signal coming from Elpis that disrupts fast travel, and Jack sends the hunters to Elpis to take care of the jamming signal. Once on Elpis, the hunters meet Janie Springs, who helps them reach the city of Concordia, once a spaceport. Once there, the Vault Hunters encounter Roland and Lilith, Vault Hunters from the first game, and eventually speak to Moxie to help them disable the jamming signal. The Vault Hunters later found out that the signal was put in place by the Mayorif, Huckster T. Meredith, the mayor and sheriff of Concordia. The Mayorif had at first locked the Vault Hunters out of his office, though Jack initially requested the Hunters to speak to him, as the Mayorif was a former Hyperion employee under Jack. It is discovered that the Mayorif was working for Colonel Zarpedon and the Lost Legion. Jack later kills the Mayorif after the former tries to kill Jack. Meanwhile, Zarpedon has activated the Eye of Helios, a laser-firing weapon. The Vault Hunters are then guided to a Lost Legion base as Jack is searching for an AI that will help him build a robot army to retake Helios. One of the officers of the facility, the Skipper, is the AI suited for Jack's needs to form a robot army, and with her, the team head to the Titan Industrial Facility. The Skipper changes her name to Felicity due to the name meaning happiness. Meanwhile, at the production plant, the hunters later meet the Hyperion technician Gladstone, who has built a prototype constructor robot. Jack plans to install Felicity into the constructor, but Felicity objects. She later asks to be copied into the robot rather than installed, but Jack dismisses her and she must be killed as a boss and her personality deleted from the constructor before the first constructor can be completed. Jack and the Vault Hunters move to retake Helios with the robot army in tow, taking on and defeating Colonel Zarpedon, speaking of the location of the vault on Elpis before she dies. Moxie moves to reboot the Eye of Helios and ends up destroying its power source. She, along with Roland and Lilith, have grown distrustful of Jack's growing ego and lust for power, and want to prevent him from having access to a weapon such as Eye of Helios. The three move to the vault on Elpis, and Jack and the Vault Hunters make their way there too, marking the climax of the game. The Vault Hunters fight through the vault's guardians, taking on the Sentinel and finally the Empyrean Sentinel, the final boss. Jack later arrives, finding little of interest except for a floating artifact that shows him visions of the Warrior, a being of great power in a vault in Pandora. Lilith interrupts his vision by smashing the artifact, with the explosion scarring Jack's face. Jack announces his plans to awaken the Warrior and to wipe Pandora of bandits, finalizing his complete descent. This closes the main story of the game, told by Athena, who is recounting her events with Jack and the other Vault Hunters as a captive about to be executed per Lilith's orders. An Iridian warrior, who was seen much earlier in the game, prevents Athena's execution, warning of a coming war that will require as many Vault Hunters as possible. Post-conclusion scenes add more to the ending. Jack murders the CEO of Hyperion and installs himself as the head of the corporation, now calling himself Handsome Jack, likely in reference to Lilith's taunt as she punched the artifact that told Jack of visions of the Warrior. This sets up his character for Borderlands 2. The game released with 3 pieces of DLC. Shock Drop Slaughter Pit, the first piece of DLC, contains missions that are focused on pitting the Vault Hunters against waves of enemies in the abandoned training facility. The next DLC package is the Holodome Onslaught, which features more fighting against waves of enemies at a new location, the Holodome. The last piece of DLC is Claptastic Voyage. Handsome Jack learns that the former CEO of Hyperion hid a program called the H-Source within the Claptrap that accompanies the Vault Hunters as a playable character in the game. Handsome Jack digitizes the Vault Hunters and sends them into Claptrap's mind to retrieve H-Source. The main antagonist is 5H4D0W-TP, or Shadow Trap, a combination of Shadow and Trap, unlike the more common name Claptrap that describes the Claptrap robots within the Borderlands universe. Shadow Trap is so named because it is a subroutine that is evil found within Claptrap, and we later see is a mode of being that Claptrap, alternatively named Fragtrap long ago, temporarily assumed before reverting back to his normal self. Once Shadow Trap is defeated, Jack uses the H-Source to disable all Hyperion Claptrap robots. Handsome Jack shoots this Claptrap, whose mind we ventured into, and leaves it for dead, its remaining coding keeping it barely alive until it is found by a character named Sir Hammerlock, closing the story. And that concludes our video on the full story of Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Let us know what you want from Borderlands 3 in the comment section below, and as always, thanks for watching. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.